Another day, another video. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we're watching The Big Bang Theory. This is the 22nd episode of the third season. Hope you guys have been enjoying it so far. If you'd like to watch today's full episode, it is available for in the link in the description below. Just click on it, put a password in, and enjoy. So last episode was actually really interesting. You know, another doctor was coming to stay with Sheldon for a bit. It was a female one as well, and obviously the guys was very attracted to her. Now, interestingly, you know, Penny and Lenny have just broken up, and you know, Leonard did kind of fancy her, but he never really made his move. But she made one on him. At night, when he was in bed, when he was reading his book, she seen his nightlight on, she slipped in, she slept with him. And obviously Penny found out, and she was kind of moaning, obviously, and moving on pretty quick. And we were saying last episode, what is the actual stance of moving on? You know, if you're broken up, is it next day okay to meet somebody else? Or is it, you got to wait a certain amount of time? But interestingly, she was messing around and not wasting no time, because she ended up trying to then pursue Raj, pursue Howard, and she was all for a big old, you know, sex party between all of them, which is interesting. But then Leonard and Howard actually backed out, which is interesting because, you know, you would have thought Howard would be front on that line, and it was left with Raj to have the fun at the end. So that's really interesting. They enjoyed the last episode. To be honest, I feel like the start of the season was pretty slow. That we picked up very, very good towards the end, and hopefully today's episode is really good, and I can't wait, obviously, to set up for the final episode in tomorrow. So it's going to be really interesting. Thanks for checking out today's episode. If you do enjoy it, please smash the like, really helps out. Subscribe if you're new, and as always, let's jump into the 22nd episode of the third season of The Big Bang Theory.
Okay, baby doll pink, let's see if you can cover up the fact that I got my dad's feet.
2 degrees, Sheldon. I just want to turn up the thermostat 2 degrees. Let me point out that 2 degrees can be the difference between water and steam. Screw the roommate agreement. No, you don't screw the roommate agreement. The roommate agreement screws you.
Who is it?
Leonard,
Hang on.
can I sleep on your couch tonight?
Well, you can try, but the people across the hall are being very noisy.
You agree he's nuts.
Well, not as nuts as the guy who chooses to live with him.
Believe it or not, he was worse when I met him.
I do not believe that.
Oh, look at this.
Started at the university. Excuse me, I'm looking for Sheldon Cooper's apartment.
Oh, I bet you're here to check out the room for rent.
Yeah.
Run away, dude.
That should have been my first clue. For all I knew, he was the crazy one. He had this really deranged look.
Yeah.
Dr. Cooper?
No, you want the crazy guy across the hall.
This is actually really interesting. I
Well,
want to see what
that
Sheldon
was
looks like.
Clue number 2.
The same.
Yeah, I'm Leonard Hofstetter. I called you about the apartment. You said to come
I know
by.
what I said. I know what you said. I know what my mother said on March 5th, 1992. What is the 6th noble gas?
Radon?
Next question. Kirk or Picard?
Original series over Next Generation, but Picard over Kirk.
Correct. You've passed the first barrier to roommatehood.
Mate, it's a good size, that, isn't it?
The bedrooms are back there?
That depends. Your ability to perceive their existence is conditional on you passing the second and third barriers. Have a seat.
Okay.
This seat is ideally located, both in relation to the heat source in the winter and a cross breeze in the summer, allowing me to immerse myself in entertainment or gameplay without being subjected to conversation. You said on the phone that your area of study is physics.
Yeah, experimental physics.
You'll be going to the university every day,
Yes.
and you have a vehicle,
A car, yeah.
and you'd be willing to drive me?
Suppose I could drive you? Well, that's a point in my favor, right?
Why don't you let me do this? Next question. In a post-apocalyptic world, which task would you assign the highest priority? Locating a sustainable food source, reestablishing a functioning government, procreating, or preserving the knowledge of mankind?
Preserving the knowledge.
That's correct.
Pass the barriers.
The second barrier. Don't get cocky. Are you fairly regular?
I guess.
This isn't going to work if you're guessing. When do you evacuate your bowels?
When I have to.
When you have to? I'm sorry, I don't rent to hippies.
The morning. Around 8.
I can't give you 8, I can give you 7:30. You have won the right to see your room. Huzzah. No, this is my room. People don't go in my room.
You are people, aren't you?
It could be an alien, a robot.
A joke.
Do you do this often? Your room.
Die, Sheldon, die.
You may want to repaint. Friday nights shall be reserved for watching Joss Whedon's brilliant new series, Firefly. We might as well settle it now. It's going to be on for years. If either of us ever invents time travel, we agree our first stop will be this meeting today in precisely 5 seconds.
Why on earth did you agree to all that?
Well, it was the best apartment I'd seen. The rent was very reasonable, and after you pass the first 3 barriers, you kind of want to take it all the way.
Leonard,
Look at his face.
Sure, he'll go away.
I'm just going to keep knocking till you answer. Leonard,
What do you want? I didn't say come in.
you asked what I wanted. I wanted to come in. Visitors, subsection C, females, paragraph 4, coitus. Roommates shall give each other 12 hours notice of impending coitus.
Oh my God.
Imagine, you'd be fuming, wouldn't you? The thing is, right, it's interesting because I can't believe we're halfway through the episode. Like, this is the first time I paused it because it's just kind of flowed. I don't even think we've had, like, usually you get the, like, I don't know, whatever them symbols are, the way it transitions across, but literally haven't even had it. I feel like we're going to move into the first one now. I was going to say, it's interesting to see that he's obviously he's gone through it and he's continued on with the roommate agreement, even though he had to pass 3 barriers. You know, for me, the way I am, after the first one or something, I'd be like, this is effort, this, mate. Honestly, it really is. I can't be bothered. I'll find somewhere else. But then again, I understand where he's coming from, actually, because she's like, why would you still carry on? And he's like, mate, you get to a certain point, now once you've done it, you just want to see all of it out. And it is true, innit? And I always thought as well, you know, he signed all these agreements, so some of them seemed proper far-fetched as well, but, like, sometimes it's actually coming to fruition now, and he's had to do certain things here and there. Do you know what I mean? And it's interesting, because they said that the heating was 73 degrees. Now, obviously, that's going to be Fahrenheit, which in my opinion is really, really hot. That's about 22 degrees Celsius. Now, I have my house. First of all, if you can have your house consistently running at 22 degrees Celsius in today's society, you are a baller. It is expensive. Don't know what it's like in the US, but it is very expensive in the UK. Honestly, it really, really is. And I try and keep my house at 19, which is about 66 degrees Fahrenheit. And I think that's too hot as well. The only reason why it's that high is because my girlfriend wants it. But honestly, I think that is too hot. I would have it even lower. So, I don't know. If he wants the house hotter than 73 Fahrenheit, then I think that's just way overboard me. I think it's too hot already.
Move in with this guy. He makes you sign a ridiculous roommate agreement. Then he walks into your bedroom while you're doing this Joyce Kim, and you still stay.
Well, I was doing some government research at the time. You know, military rocket fuel is kind of secret. As it turns out, she was a North Korean spy.
No way, imagine.
Luckily, Sheldon drove her out before I revealed anything important. The other part is what happened with the elevator.
Oh, yeah, I'm wondering about that. You said it was working when you moved in.
It was. But one night, Sheldon came home from work.
What are you sitting on?
I can't speak for these guys, but I'm sitting on my tushy.
Tushy is buttocks, right? Right. Hilarious. What's wrong with the furniture we have?
They're lawn chairs. And there was no place for company. The roommate agreement, I'm entitled to allocate 50% of the cubic footage of the common areas.
But you didn't notify me by email, so this is still a breach.
I did notify you.
Drat. I assure you, you'll be sorry you wasted your money on an iPod when Microsoft comes out with theirs. Change seats with me. Why? I don't like this spot. I have to keep turning my head. We don't watch Babylon 5 in this apartment.
Why not?
Because no one likes Babylon 5.
I like it.
And according to the roommate agreement, all ties will be settled by me. Change seats with me.
Yeah, they look strange, don't
There's a
they?
draft on my neck over here.
So I get the draft?
You're protected by your turtleneck. I'm still not comfortable. Of course, there's too many people here.
We can fix that. Let's leave.
Let me get my jacket.
You're the guy we're trying to get away from.
Oh, well, in that case, I don't need my jacket. Oh, yes.
What? It's just simple Sheldon.
This is definitely going to be my spot.
Don't have play dates. I have colleagues.
That your dad?
She grows any more hair on her face, yes.
Cool. Can it break Mach 1?
To get my hands on that new fuel the government's been working on.
Oh, this just might be your lucky day.
Why was it his lucky day?
Turns out I had a little rocket fuel in the apartment. Joyce Kim was kind of curious about what I did for a living, and I was gonna gonna show it to her. The trick is to mix it into Tovex in order to create a combustible gel that will generate over 8,000 kilonewtons of thrust.
This is for a full-scale rocket, not a model.
Well, I've adjusted the formula.
Not correctly.
What's happening?
A bad thing, a very bad thing. Get the door.
You're waiting for the elevator?
Oh, right.
Wait, it's here.
What'd you do that for? I had plenty of time. Not only did Sheldon save my life, he didn't rat me out to the landlord.
Okay, so basically you're the reason I have to walk up and down 3 flights of stairs every day?
I'm sure you did stupid things when you were younger. What were you doing 7 years ago?
So it's like Cassius Tisdale.
Pregnant! Yes!
You know what, right? It's interesting because I've always wondered like how that actually broke that elevator, and obviously they've shown it in today's episode, and I think that it's going to be one of those long-lasting things where we don't get it fixed throughout the whole entire show. As well as I don't think we're ever going to find out what Howard's mum looks like. I just don't think that we're ever going to see the elevator get fixed, and I don't think that we're going to see Sheldon get in a relationship as well. And if we do get any of them, I'll be pleasantly surprised. I would be really happy. You know, I just feel like we've come this far now without it actually happening. Another one as well I'd be interested in is Raj ever going to get the confidence to be able to confidently speak to women without having to have to obviously have some sort of alcohol or him, you know, his mind believing that he has taken some. Do you know what I mean? They're kind of 4 things that are running in the show currently that, you know, I don't know if we're ever going to get an answer to.
Oh, Ubuntu. You are my favorite Linux-based operating system. I smell methacrylate.
Clear nail polish. I had a mani-pedi. Did agree to the thermostat setting, and I shouldn't have tried to change it.
Simply an acknowledgement that I was right.
Okay, I'm sorry.
There you go.
Babylon 5.
Next, Babylon 5.
I knew it.
You're not watching. I can hear it. Oh, so the dialogue offends you? I would hardly call that dialogue.
They're mad out there, honestly. They're mad. Do you know what? I think it's an interesting approach, to be honest. That do you know, like, this episode has no like impact on the story whatsoever. There's no progression, but it's a decent one. You know, I actually enjoyed it. It's like, it's just a filler. Sometimes they do that. Like, you get flashbacks or black and whites or just random musicals, and it's like no progression to the story, but the episode's just decent in general. And to be honest, I never really expected to get one this far into it, to be honest. Season 3, right at the very end as well. Have we not got one more episode left until obviously well, it's going to be the finale, and then we've been moving into season 4. So I just think like the positional choice of it is quite interesting, but like it's not a negative because the episode was quite fun, and I always love seeing the characters in different costumes and scenarios, to be honest. You know, in today's episode we didn't actually see Leonard rocking with his like jacket as he usually wears. You know, he's got his classic t-shirt. He has a hoodie and then like an over jacket, like jean type one, if you like would say it. But in today's episode, you know, when he first come for his interview, he had longer hair, not slicked back, and he had like a sweater vest on, kind of reminded me of Raj a little bit. You know what I mean? So that was interesting. And then obviously we had the whole backstory. So I actually enjoyed it. It was really good, and we got the answer towards the elevator why it's broken as well. But like I was saying now, I wonder if we ever get the fixing of it. Do you know what I mean? I wonder if we ever get to see it. Maybe the last episode of the season, we see them all get in and they press it and the doors close, ding, and that could be the ending. You know, I think that would be a good one as well. But yeah, interesting today's episode. I enjoyed it, and even though it was a filler, it was really good. Okay, that's going to wrap up today's episode. Thanks so much for checking out the channel today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. So, you know, very interesting. We're seeing how obviously Leonard become roommates with Sheldon. We see the room agreements, the stuff that was going on, you know, the introduction of Howard and Raj and how everybody became friends. You know, it seemed like it's Sheldon that's never really changed appearance. Everybody else kind of looked different, didn't they? You know, and Sheldon stayed the same literally throughout the whole entire thing. You know, I kind of like how we kept with, well, I'd say consistency with actually the roommate across the hall. Do you remember when obviously Penny joined and he was saying, you know, it's a big difference between the other person that we had there, and then obviously in today's episode we seen that person, and it actually was the correct kind of description of what we was told. Like, I know it's just a little minor details and it doesn't really play a bigger factor, but it's like I said, you know, after we've watched this show, hopefully we may be progressing to the young Sheldon, and there's been many things dropped in here and there that Sheldon done when he was a kid, and obviously what he's experienced and how quickly he went to college and these little experiments, and I'll remember them, and I want to see if that is the continuation. If we can see, if we move into like the young Sheldon, if we can see any of them things play into it, I would give it props and clap and praise for being continuous with the correct story. And I like how in today's episode that was dropped in and it you know, correlated to something that I've been told in the past. I actually really enjoy that. You know, the episode progressed. It was a flashback, not really none of the present. We've seen a couple of things here and there that was, you know, that was interesting. And obviously the whole argument started with the thermostat. And now thinking about it, I was saying if Leonard tried to turn it up, then yeah, I'd be fuming. But to be honest, you know, I was saying it's too hot at 22 degrees or whatever they said it was, 73 Fahrenheit. And mate, I firmly believe that is way too hot. And if my apartment was consistently at that level, I'd be dying. So if he wanted to turn it down, I don't blame him. And I reckon that there should be some sort of, I don't know, median kind of temperature. You know, if he likes it at 22 degrees and he likes it at 19, then you bash it between, you know, 19 and a half. You just have it there right bang in the middle, the sweet spot. But like he was saying, Sheldon at the time, you know, if it's 1v1, then he gets a final say. I wonder if that still stays true now. I wonder how long that these agreements last as well. You know, because if you went into an apartment, you signed a roommate agreement, usually they last 6 months, 1 year or something, and then obviously it gets renewed again. Has he done that? Or is it a fully formal contract that will never change or deviate? Do you know what I mean? Because they do always bring it out and say, you signed this, this, and this, and you breached this code, this one, and you didn't give me this acknowledgement and that, and it's always in Sheldon's favour. And I'd love it to see, obviously in today's episode, in terms of the couch, it worked in Leonard's favour, but then Sheldon's got a last laugh because it's his spot and he loves that couch now. Do you know what I mean? So in the present, I would like to see him come up trumps with his own kind of things against Sheldon. That would be really interesting. But that's going to wrap up today's episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please smash the like, really helps out. Subscribe if you're new, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers guys.